Hey, welcome back to Dan's Chess Lounge, everyone. Today we're going to continue working on these incredible in-game positions that we must know. We have to get these in-games down pat. We have to go over them repeatedly so they can sink into our brains. We have to understand them so that we can win games. It's great that we can memorize 20 and 25 variation openings and we can know all that fancy stuff. But if you don't know a simple rook and pawn end game, then it's all for nothing. So let's go ahead and get into the discussion today. Today I'm going to be going over like a Lucena position, but except for that the pawn is a rook pawn. Now that makes things a little bit more difficult. There's some actual rules that has to apply. A normal Lucena position, the king only has to be cut off by one file. Now, for a rook pawn, the king actually has to be cut off 4 or more files in order for the person with the pawn to win. So in this position here, in order for white to win, the king has to be cut off by at least 4 files. Now, on the position on the screen, you can see that I've highlighted these squares here. The king is only cut off 3 squares. So this is not a win. This is going to be a draw. And let me just show you why this is a draw here. Rook h1. The idea here is that white wants to get his king, his white king, to the b7 square, move it off of the promotion square. So he's going to need his rook to come up and try to help out, right? King moves over, king d7, rook h8. King keeps moving over closer and closer. King c7. Now rook b8 challenges the rook on the b file. Rook moves over. Rook b7. White is really wanting his king to get off of that a8 promotion square so he can push his pawn. King goes to c8. Now white goes to rook b1 with the idea of playing rook c1. Now his king can move out and the pawn can promote, right? Black puts a stop to all that with rook c2. Now, black's king will always control the c7 and c8 squares. White's king is never going to get out that corner there. So this is going to be a draw in this position here. Now let's go ahead and look and see how it's supposed to be done, or how it can be done. Okay, now in this position here, as you can see with the squares highlighted, there's four files. The black king is cut off by 4 files. So this position here can be a win for white if he knows what he's doing here. White plays rook c1. It's the similar idea. You have to get your king out of the corner so the pawn can promote. King e7. King marches forward, closer to the pawn. Rook c8. King d6. Rook b8, challenging the rook on the b file so that the white king can get out of the promotion square. Rook goes to a2. Now the king is finally free. He's moving out. Check. King c8. Check again. King d8. Rook h2. Now, you have to be very careful here because if you try to move your pawn, if you promote to a queen, or if you move your rook somewhere, then white's going to be embarrassed because black will play rook h8, checkmate. So therefore, you have rook b6, king c5. Now, this is the most critical move in the whole entire endgame right here. If you play rook a6 here, this leads to a draw because now you allow black to check you. Check, rook h7 check, king f8 check, rook, and now the rook can just slide over into the corner, and now black's king is so close he's going to be able to grab that pawn on a7 with the rook and the king being so close there. So that is a draw. That is a mistake. It's very easy for that to happen because this move that you need to play is very hard to see here. Okay, here's the position here. King goes to c5. So this position right here, instead of going rook a6, right, to get behind, you would think you would have to get your rook behind the pawn so you can push the pawn. The actual winning move here is rook c6, exclam, and probably even double exclam. Brilliant move here. So then you sack your rook, but then you actually queen with check. And that's the important part, it's with check. So now you can actually move your queen and get your queen off of that rank there, so black can't play rook h8. Now this position here is winning for white as long as the king and the rook is separated like this. If the king and rook are like side by side close together, it can be a very, very tricky and complicated game here. Might even be drawn, but as long as the king and rook is separated with some distance between them, then this is a win for white, because white just basically has to check the king until he can get a fork or a double attack. So like you would have c5, queen c8 check, king d4, queen g4 check, king d5, king f5 check. And this is not nothing you have to memorize. You would basically just keep checking the king and separating the king and rook until you can get a fork. King d7 check. Now here you go. King c5, queen c7 check. It's a double attack, a fork, and now you would pick up the rook and you would win the game. So, okay guys, go back over, watch the video, make sure you understand how to win this endgame for white. It's very critical. You will have this position over and over countless times in your chess career. So go ahead, like the video. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I'm going to keep cranking out more videos. Don't forget to comment and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.